Hi everyone. Today I'm going to show you how I like to dry hop, keg, and harvest yeast from my conical fermenter. Today I'm going to be dry hopping and adding tea to my Earl Grey IPA. I'm going to be starting off with some Citra T45 hops. I'm going to be adding about 60 grams. And then I'm going to add another 50 grams of Galaxy on top of that. I add my hops to a hop sock and I knot it off with some space for the hops to expand in the bag. Here I'm going to be adding my Earl Grey tea bags to a hop sock so that it can go into the keg along with the hops. You may be wondering why I dry hop in the keg. Well, since I can my beer and I want to harvest the yeast and I want to minimize as much trub and hop particles as possible, I do all of my dry hopping and adjuncts in the keg while it's carbing. Now it's time to flush the keg with CO2 and get rid of all of the excess star sand that's left over on the inside. At this point in time, I bleed the excess pressure and open up the keg so I can add the hop socks with the tea and the hops. So the way I add the hop socks into the keg is I try to wrap the top part around the out dip tube so that once the beer is added, the hop socks will get wedged under the dip tube and not float to the top. Now I'll remove the outside and add the CO2 inside to purge any oxygen that may have gotten in during the dry hop addition. I'll also set the PSI a little bit higher so I can set the lid into place. I'll now bleed all of the pressure out of the keg now that the lid is locked in place. I'll leave the vent valve open as well. With the keg now purged, I can hook the beer in line to the dip tube. This will be hooked into my conical. I use the Play-Doh keg system to keep track of how much beer will be going into my keg. Now it's time to remove my airlock and attach my pressure transfer attachment. Attached to the other end of my pressure transfer attachment is a low pressure gauge. Here I'm clearing my wrecking arm of any yeast that may have settled inside. It's now time to attach the hose to the wrecking arm to get ready for the transfer. I try to keep the pressure transfer at around 1 psi. It's now time to get the butterfly valve ready for the yeast harvest. I have found this yeast, Oslo Kvike, takes a little bit of back pressure to get it moving. I regulate the pressure so it stays under 1 psi. I do this so beer doesn't get pushed through the yeast cake and create channeling. This will really help me effectively remove the entire yeast cake in one go. Once I start to get beer, I'll close the valve and let some of the larger bits of yeast fall to the bottom, and then I'll open it back up to resume the harvest. So this is just about everything harvested out of the conical. To rinse it, I'll pour off the top layers of beer and boil some water and cool it, and then add it and give it a good whirl. I'll let it settle, and then I'll repeat the process again. I have found that rinsing the yeast twice is more than enough, especially for kvike, but it can be done once more after it's been refrigerated overnight. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Thanks for watching, and cheers.